Well, g'day fishers. It's that time of the week. It's fishing report time. Oh, how good's the weather looking for the weekend? Friday, 25 degrees. Weekend's looking sensational. Next week looks good as well. So this really good early spring weather continues, which means the fishing is getting better and better. That water's starting to heat up inside the bay. Flatties are starting to stir. So if you're keen on doing a bit of flathead fishing, get out there and get amongst it. Fish have been right up in the shallows at the moment, so especially up Pelagics Creek in behind the racks on the incoming tide and the first of the outgoing tide. Obviously, they're laying up there trying to get a bit of warmth. Water's about 15 degrees, which is pretty good for this time of year. I think over the next few days, it'll warm up to at least 16, 17 degrees, and that'll get them chewing. They're feeding on smaller soft plastics. A lot of guys throwing plastics up there. You want that sort of smaller 3-inch style plastic, white bait colour, working really well at the moment. So definitely worth a shot at flatties up the Pelagics. I reckon Cruel might be worth a shot, although I did hear there's a little bit of slimeweed up that way as well. Some good brim around. Spoke to a customer that fished the shortcut wall over at Tea Gardens there, did really well on the brim. So a few nice brims starting to get along there. Water's really, really clear, so you have to fish those lighter leaders. If you're going to fish baits, I'd say some salted bonito fillet or even some live yabbies if you want to go and do that as well. So some nice brim around at the moment in the bay. Those longtails keep, I guess, some people are catching and some people aren't. The biggest key to it is don't troll around them. Don't try and troll through them. They're feeding on very, very small bait. We're ordering our anchovies on a daily basis at the moment. So I spoke to Smacky again. He got another nice one, 15 kilos. We'll throw that photo up on our socials. But they are a little bit difficult. But those small arm anchovies, I think it's the 11 gram and the 18 gram. All you have to do is just swap them out to a single hook on them and away you go. And just big, long casts. Get into the school. You don't have to wind fast. It's just a matter of getting that timing right with the cast at the moment. A few salmon still in the bay as well. On the lower half of the bay and around Shoal Bay, there's been a few salmon chasing the similar bait as well, so which is good to see. So Pelagics in August, it's sensational to see in the bay. Ludrick is still down on the breakwalls, both the Anchorage and Nelson Bay breakwalls, so if you're keen on doing that, a few Luddos down there. Interestingly enough, on the Nelson Bay breakwall, probably I know I reported a nice mulloway down there last weekend or weekend before, but there's a few kingies that have shown up down there. So a few of the young lads, young KO, hooking some really good kings on some 6-pound leader, but not landing them. So there's a few kings starting to turn up down there, which is good to see. So it's a bit early for them, but everything's a bit early this year with this better weather that we're having. So there you go. So reports of a few squid out at Shoal Bay as well, and plenty of cuttlefish through there. So if you're keen on the cuttlefish, just those smaller jigs, those 1.8s doing really well around the moorings there at Shoal Bay. So bay fishing really well for late winter, that's for sure. If we head off offshore, some really nice snapper caught this week. Some really nice reds caught in the shallows. I know I've heard of some really nice fish caught around the front of Fingal, especially around Wrong Way Bommy there, throwing whole garfish back into the washes there. Some really nice reds just on sunrise and sunset. One fish measuring, or should say weighing 8 kilos. So some nice reds around in the shallows. But the key is you've got to fish early or fish that late sunset. And this weekend's going to be brilliant for it. So you can do both if you wish. Some really nice reds up around the Sisters and around Cod Rock there, North Island as well. In the deeper water as well, up towards the Big Gibber, Paul got some really nice reds. He's been using those new Japanese style jigs that we've got in, doing really well on those. Just sitting him in the rod holder, letting the boat do all the rod do all the work. So good old Rodney rod holder, getting the goods done there. So some nice reds around in that deeper water. Seal Rocks would be definitely worth a go this weekend if you want to go and throw some plastics up there for a few snapper. Be worth a shot that way, and there'll be a few nice kings up there as well. Speaking of kings, like I said, they're in the bay, but there's also some nice ones up around the Sisters. There's been a few garfish up there. There's been the kings hunting them down, as well as the longtails. So the longtails are still outside. It's just incredible how long they're keeping on this year, that's for sure. If you go and fish that deeper water, there's still some trag around. I spoke to Brad off Pacific Blue Charters, I should say. You got some nice trags on the outer V and also up towards the 21 there. So if you're keen on getting a few trag for a feed, get out to that deeper water there. Also, some really nice barcod being caught. Spoke to Dean during the week. He shoot it out, I should say, during the week there, and got some really nice barcod Some really nice fish actually, up to about 10, 12 kilos. Some absolute beauties. So the current's backed right off, so definitely worth a shot on the Baries. Also, some kings up at all mark as well. The current's been a bit shifty up there. What I mean by that, it's 1 minute it's coming from the north, 1 minute it's coming from the south. So we've got a bit of a convergence looking at rip charts. There's a bit of a convergence of currents out there at the moment. I'll talk about that in a second. But definitely some good kings up at all mark. And this is going to be the weekend, the weather, if you're keen to go and do some jigging or some live baiting on the all mark for a few kings, that's for sure. Now, during the week, well, the weather wasn't that conducive to get out to chase a few yellowfin, but I did hear a few reports of yellowfin. Looking at the altimetry, looking at the current convergence there, it's quite interesting. We've got a big push up of current from the south, but out the front, that 32.50, 32.55, you'll see there's a slight bit of current coming down from the north and that push up from the south. If I was going to catch a yellowfin, that's where it'd be. It looks like it's in about 500 metres. It starts there to about 2,000 metres with that altimetry line, that zero line just outside of that. So if there's going to be yellowfin, I think they're going to be in that sort of vicinity. The water temperature is about 19.2 with a temperature break of 19.5. They're not much of a temperature break, but it's that current convergence that is definitely going to be the big thing there. The other thing to note is too, there's been a lot of striped marlin. When I mean a lot of guys have been trolling obviously skirts, pro Fidjis, hard bodies, and being bit on striped marlin, but not just once. They're getting 2 or 3 bites a day on striped marlin. So if you want to put the blinkers on from the yellowfin and go skip baiting, I think you'll find there'll be a few nice striped marlin to throw in the mix there as well. So all in all, if you want to go for a fish this weekend, it's going to be absolutely brilliant. Whether you want to stick in the bay, whether you want to go offshore, I think it's going to be fantastic. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned is the beaches and the rocks. A little bit of swell this week, but the beach has been really good. Plenty of brim on Fingal at the moment. Spoke to one customer. He caught 8 really nice brim up to 42 centimetres. He was fishing just to the left of the surf club there, about 200 yards from the surf club. There's a couple of good gutters there. So doing really well on the brim. If you go towards the spit, you'll be able to spin up some salmon and some tailor up that way as well. Round at Boxy on the southern headland of Boxy, plenty of tailor there at first light or last light as well. Down on Samurai, some really nice gutters down on Samurai at the moment. So especially up on the southern end of Samurai there towards Middle Rock, be worth a shot for a few brim there, maybe even a mulloway off Samurai as well. So beach is pretty good. Off the rocks, definitely worth a snapper fish. We've had a little bit of swell roll in, so it'd be worth chasing a few snapper off the rocks this weekend. We've just got a load of fresh gari, so if you wanted to go and throw those in the wash, I think you'll do pretty well on the reds in the washes around the rocks at the moment. Salmon and tailor off 1 Mile Point and Boat Harbour there as well. And like always, plenty of drummer and brim this time of year. And I think with the calm conditions this weekend, it'd be worth chasing a groper. And even the squid haven't been prolific, but it'd be worth throwing a squid jig around. I think you'll find them in little patches, especially down towards Barry Park there in the corner. You might find a few squid getting in there. So all in all, like I said, fishing's red hot for late winter. So, and it's only going to get better from here on in. So make the most of that really nice weather. Get out there and enjoy the weekend, and we'll speak next week.